Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below, the new direct purchase inquiry email line from you to me and my hand-picked crew for questions you have about this or any watch you see here on Watchbox Reviews. And today we are discussing a 2010 Bezel World launch. This is the Omega Speedmaster Broad Arrow Coaxial, 44.25 millimeters. It features a case size that you associate with, for example, the dark side of the moon or the gray side of the moon. The watch is a reasonable 14 millimeters thick, so you can see how thick it is, with the spacing from lug to lug of a reasonable, for a 44 plus, 50 millimeters lug to lug, and the spacing between the lugs 21 millimeters, with a factory strap that includes a conforming profile, so it's very integrated, just like a bracelet would be, with no daylight showing between strap and case. Now it is a thickly bolstered strap, and it's in black, semi-gloss, with a monotone stitch, a folded edge. There's a lot of volume here, so Omega is not shorting you the leather. Note that this is a brand new Omega factory strap, gator on the top and calfskin on the bottom. You will be the first to gouge or crimp it, and you will do so with this Omega deployant clasp. Twin trigger release. I appreciate the twin triggers because that ensures this one's not friction fit. It can't pop open. It's smart because internally there's a minderless system, so you tuck this in, you then dip the strap underneath the two retaining lips, and you can see how once it's sized on your wrist, it's minderless. That is, there are no strap minder loops externally, and all the excess length is underneath the clasp in the strap, so it's a very clean look once it is sized on your wrist. It's also nicely polished inside and out. Roll into the case, you can see the contrast we're used to on Omega Speedmaster cases with polished crown and chronograph pushers. We have the lyre style lugs, first introduced in the mid-60s, so we have bevels inside and outside, with the polished bevel on the case band expanding at the end of the lugs, a thin longitudinally satin finished mid-case, and you can see that polished character line runs end to end. We have a polished underside to the cantilevered bezel, and you'll note that the bezel features a satin track with lacquered inlay. It is a tachymeter scale. The tachymeter, which is base 1000, allows you to gauge the speed of things moving between 1000 units and 60 units. Because there's no kilometers or miles here, use the chronograph hand and the scale to gauge the speed of something traveling between, let's say, 1000 and 60 kilometers per hour. Sapphire crystal, of course, nicely domed, giving you a little bit of the look of a vintage plexiglass on a moon watch. The dial is extravagant. As you can see, all applique and loomed Arabic numerals vertically arrayed, applique scales for each of the sub-registers with a wonderful honeycomb metallic mesh pattern inside, evocative of F1 components. You have applique Omega logo and marquee, and then you have a Côte de Genève pattern with stripes from 12 down to 6. You have a monotone silver date disc, and you have beautifully blackened and polished hands at center. A few things to note. It is a vertical clutch system, so the chronograph starts and stops without any stagger or jump, unlike a lateral clutch. You can also leave the chronograph engaged full time because of the vertical clutch and because of the column wheel architecture of this chronograph. See if we can find the column wheel and showcase that. Because of the column wheel architecture, take a listen. It has a very sharp and positive report, so the chronograph is a tactile pleasure to use. Start it back up again. Again, because of the vertical clutch, you can leave that chronograph running full time with no danger if you just want to have minutes, hours, and seconds at center. Pull the crown out all the way, you engage the stop, second, or hacking mode, and then if you pull the crown out one detent, you gain access to the quick set system, so you can rapidly cycle the date. Now the watch, though it is a Speedmaster designed for land or aeronautical sports, is remarkably water resistant, as this model is 100 meters water resistant, and thus if you put it on a different strap or bracelet, it is swimmable. It is a coaxial 5-position adjusted COSC chronometer. So this is Omega caliber 3313. It's based on the Frédéric Piguet 1285 movement, which has its roots in Blancpain chronographs and Breguet chronographs, so it's a true high horology base in an Omega watch. A few upgrades made for the Omega application include a free-sprung regulator, so it is a free-sprung regulator with all the adjustment done using weights on the balance. That's more stable and precise than the mobile stud index on the basic Bausch. It's also been upgraded with a 52-hour power reserve and a coaxial escapement, so it features the George Daniels coaxial tangential contact direct and indirect impulse escapement system that reduces the friction, improves short and long-term timing stability, and also helps this watch to achieve its extended 52-hour power reserve. It is a 36 joule movement, and again, with the column wheel, the vertical clutch, the stop seconds, and the quick set date, it has every requisite refinement for precise use and precise setting. Also water resistant and robustly loomed. This is a full service watch, and if you've got the wrist for it, this could easily be your only watch. I'm going to throw it on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist real quick so you get a sense of how the watch wears. You can see it doesn't seem that thick when it's on the wrist, and because it's 50 millimeters lug-to-lug, I could endorse it for a wrist as small as 14 centimeters in circumference. Again, my wrist 16 centimeters, and it feels very comfortable and planted. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for your questions about this Omega Speedmaster. Omega Speedmaster Broad Arrow by Night.